let's talk special teams. So Ed, I follow, who follows me on Twitter, I follow him too. He's a great guy. Very, very passionate Lions fan. He asked this question: why are people overreacting to Jake Bates missing an extra pointer when Justin Tucker and All-Pro Brandon Aubrey missed some last year? Well, Ed, Justin Tucker hasn't missed a field goal in a couple years. Extra point, I mean, he hasn't missed an extra point in a couple years. But if you were to go over the best NFL kickers in the NFL, and you go look at their extra point percentage for their career, active, the highest is 98.7, which is Justin Tucker. I don't think Justin Tucker has missed a kick in 3 years, which is absolutely astonishing because when you go look at the season by season stats, like if you looked at last year, didn't miss one. 22 and 22, didn't miss one. I think in COVID he missed a couple, but that's the last time he's missed an extra point. So for all you people that are freaking out about Jake Bates missing an extra point, yes, that could come back to haunt you. But when you're 4 for 4 on field goals and your long is 55, I'll deal with it. You make a clutch kick at the end, I'll deal with it. You know, Jake Bates is one of these guys who, look, I was worried about him being a rookie going into this thing, but as we've gone on and as we've seen him more and more in the preseason, one thing that stands alone about Jake Bates, and I think this is the most impressive thing that you can have for a kicker, just me personally, is the clutch gene. The clutch gene is the most important thing that you could have as a kicker. I don't care who you are, what you believe in, who you think. It's the most clutch thing that you could do is have a clutch gene. And I look at the best players in like the best quarterbacks and in football, the best kickers in football, the best goalies in hockey, the best closing pitchers in baseball. They all have one thing. They really don't get rattled. And when I see Jake Bates miss an extra point, and then he goes out there and drills the game-winning field goal, it tells me everything I need to know about the kid just from the start. Because it's very easy as a kicker, very easy as a kicker to get rattled. It's like a goalie in hockey. I don't know how many of you follow hockey or if you follow baseball. You know, we know in baseball, if you give up a home run, you give up a run, the pitcher can start to get rattled. You see it in hockey where the goalie gets rattled a little bit when he gives up 2 goals or a couple goals within a minute. You know, the best of the best of those positions don't get rattled when they make bad plays. And eventually you're going to make bad plays. That's just the reality of the position. The reality of the position of a kicker is you are going to miss some field goals. You're going to miss some extra points. But at some point in time, you're going to have to put it away and store it away and make the next kick. And what I saw Jake Bates do yesterday was very impressive because a lot of younger kickers fall into this trap. You know, there was a guy, Chase McLaughlin, who I think the Browns, he was a Browns kicker. He was a really good kicker. He had a really good, forget who the kicker was for the Browns. It's escaping me, but a guy like Evan McPherson, okay, the Bengals kicker. He missed a couple kicks in his rookie campaign, but when the Bengals needed him, he made some awesome kicks. And, you know, that's what good kickers do. They don't let the bad kicks affect their next kick. That's what you have to rely on. And when I look at Jake Bates and what he's been able to do as a kicker at, you know, missing an extra point and then going out there and making a field goal and making the game-winning field goal, it tells me everything I need to know about Jake Bates as a kicker. And we have something from Mr. Dan Campbell. So Dan Campbell was talking and he said this. We had this fall in competition and he's in a championship. He makes 2 critical throws in crunch time, and then there's something about this kid that's intriguing. He's got a little bit of confidence to him. Just what I was saying about Jake Bates. He's got a confidence to him. When he misses something, he comes back, he makes a good play, and he kicks the right, you know, even in falling, you could see it in him because it's something to say about a player when he makes a mistake, he doesn't make the right play. He, you know, as a kicker, when you miss a kick, you miss an extra point, you come back and you nail the next one. That's what good kickers do. That's what the elite do. Bates said after kicking a game-winning field goal Game-winning 43-yard field goal to walk it off. The Lions against the Chiefs. He tries to stay as even-keeled as possible. It never gets too high or too low, depending on the situation. Following, including, he joked. He made all 4 of his field goals against the Chiefs, 55, 22, 32, and 43, and was 1 for 2 on extra points. Right there is what you need to know about Jake Bates. What Jake Bates did in that game. He never gets too high. That quote about never getting too high, never getting too low, depending on the situation, is something that you really want to hear from your kicker. You know, that's what the best goalies in hockey do. They don't get too high, they don't get too low. They keep it under wraps. You know, yes, you can get disappointed in yourself, but you have to make the next save. For a kicker, you're expected to go out there and make the next kick. And when you hear that spot where he says he never gets too high, he never gets too low, and then, you know, Dan Campbell says he's got a little bit of confidence to him, that should tell you everything you know about Jake Bates, the kicker. He's a really good player. And if we're being totally honest, that confidence is intriguing. Like what Dan Campbell said, the confidence to him is intriguing because the best kickers in the league don't get rattled. They just don't. And I feel like if you get rattled as a kicker, you're done. You're toast. You're not going to make it. Now, Brett Maher for the Dallas Cowboys, he was a good kicker. Good kicker. He had a couple of rough patches, and it turned his career sideways. I don't think Jake Bates is that same guy. You know, we've seen Jake Bates miss kicks and then go out there and drill the next one. And you see it with the Michigan Panthers. Like this kid, there's the confidence that he has on him is very intriguing, like Dan Campbell said. It's very intriguing because when you have a player like that, as young as he is, have this kind of I don't get too high, I don't get too low situation. That's what you want to hear from your kicker. That's what you want to hear from your quarterback. And that's what you want to hear from, like, if you're a closing pitcher in baseball, a starting pitcher in baseball, a reliever in baseball, any kind of pitcher in baseball, you want to hear that from, and you want to hear that from your goalie in hockey. And when you hear that from those positional groups, you start to think about what their identity is and how well they do what they do, because we could sit here all day long and say, "Oh my God, he missed that extra point. What are we gonna do?" The confidence to make the next kick is the most important thing that you could have as a kicker. It's the most important thing that you could have as a kicker. When you think about it, being a kicker is very, very tough because there's a lot of variables that come into play. The snap, the hold, is it held the right way? Those are type of things that could go wrong on a kick. That doesn't mean you necessarily messed up. It means someone messed up along the way, and you're gonna get credit for it that you didn't make the kick. So when I hear a kicker like Jake Bates have the he never gets too high, he never gets too low situation, I love that from him. I think he's doing a damn good job, and it's gonna be very, very good for him.